Good afternoon, everyone. What do you do when you're given 1 hour a week for 12 weeks to spend on a passion project and you're not really sure what to do? Well, this is what I was asked to do for my Genius Hour research project this term. We were told to explore a topic of interest and spend 1 hour a week for 12 weeks, researching, crafting, creating, filming, you name it, in order to become geniuses about our topic, hence the name Genius Hour Project. The field was wide open, and I could quite literally do anything I wanted. This was a little overwhelming, and the same way it does when somebody asks you what your favorite book is and you immediately forget every book you've ever read, my mind went blank. What was I passionate about? What did I want to spend all this time exploring in depth? I didn't have any ideas, and so, like anybody would do, I pushed the burden off to someone else and asked my sister for advice. Luckily, she knows me pretty well. Either that or she happened to see the Band of Brothers DVD lying around my room, and she suggested that I do something with it. I thought, of course, it's so obvious. Band of Brothers is my favorite piece of media to ever exist, so how sweet would it be to watch the series again for the 7th or 8th time and do something with it? Of course, this project turned into a lot more than just sitting down with a bowl of popcorn and watching the series once more. But that is what it was sometimes. So I took my sister's good idea, fleshed it out a little bit, and created some goals. I decided to take this series, Band of Brothers, produced by Tom Hanks and Steven Spielberg, and answer the following question. What is the value of the miniseries Band of Brothers as a historical lesson or teaching tool? Now, for those of you who aren't familiar with the series, it follows the men of Easy Company, paratroopers in the 101st Airborne Division of the U.S. Army during World War II. It tells their story from training in Toccoa, Georgia, to jumping out of planes in Normandy, France, to the Battle of the Bulge in Bastogne, Belgium, to capturing Hitler's Eagle's Nest in Berchtesgaden, Germany. It explores their emotions, their battles, their triumphs and trials, and how these men really came together to form a band of brothers. So, with this question, I had the goal of determining the historical accuracy and the entertainment value of the series. I wanted to figure out if this series was historically good enough to be used to teach about the history it tells us about. And I wanted to figure out, from a cinema point of view, what the quality was and if it would be engaging to the average viewer, student or otherwise. Throughout this project, I became very passionate as well about discovering the difference between something being a work of history versus being historic. I realized through my viewings, research, and reviews that I also needed to think about this series as a piece of media aside from historical engagement, but also about how one responsibly interacts with what they're watching and what they accept for fact or fiction. So, how did I go about trying to prove all of this? Well, I picked 4 out of 10 episodes to analyze in depth. I created 2 rating systems, one for historical accuracy and one for series engagement. I took episodes during the notes of things I noticed. I did a whole lot of research, and I filmed reviews every week to present my findings to all my loyal followers, aka my mom, my dad, my sisters, my grandma, and my professor. Thanks, Dave. So, with this journey came some successes and some challenges. Let's just say if I tried to pick this topic as an easy way out, which I didn't, it didn't really work. The research process showed me that people had a lot to say about some elements of this history and absolutely nothing to say about other elements. This meant that with my historical analysis, it mostly focused on the big historical takeaways. But I didn't really mind this. I think it worked out pretty well, as if I was using this to teach students, I would want them to come away learning about the big events. So, in terms of successes, I really loved the opportunity to record my weekly blog posts in a vlog format, where I would film myself discussing my findings and my research from that week. This format allowed me to be pretty creative, and I liked being able to film and edit the reviews. Also, an unexpected success that came along with this was in posting my videos to YouTube. One of them randomly now has over 300 views, so that was a pretty exciting little unexpected outcome. A struggle with the series as well that goes along with the filming component is that I still live in a house with 5 other people and for some reason one of them was always wanting to blend a smoothie or make a lot of noise when filming. But alas, through all of these struggles, I was able to come up with a pretty cool product that I'm pretty proud of. But if we're going back to the process and the point of all this research and what came out of it, what have I discovered? And what have I taken away? What am I left with? Well, I think what has struck me is really twofold. First, I learned a lot about the value of visuals in teaching and studying history. And second, I learned that movies, shows, music, books, and any other form of media are never going to be able to perfectly accurately recount history. So both these ideas, or these takeaways, came together as I was trying to sum up what I think the value of this series is. All in all, I think its value lies in the way it creates emotional and visual connections to historic events. It's really impactful to see things happen as opposed to just reading about them, although there's definitely value in that too. But with seeing things, it's the reason photographs, videos, and other historical artifacts are so often used in teaching history. And it's part of the reason museums exist. People are drawn to these visual representations of the past. We need to keep in mind things like perspective, bias, equipment that's available, how locations have changed, goals of making money, and so many other things that have influenced this show and others aside from portraying events as historically accurately as possible. But the show's value also lies in getting people to learn more about the events that are being portrayed. I've bought books, read articles, and generally just explored a lot more about the lives of Easy Company soldiers and about specific events like D-Day, the Battle of the Bulge, concentration camps, and so many other things, just because this series has motivated me to and has acted as the starting point to become invested and engaged with that. So I think if an audience is capable of thinking critically about what they're watching and recognizes this series as a work of history and not historic in itself, I think it could be a very good tool. Not textbook or lesson, but a tool in giving students and other audiences a look into the lives of soldiers of World War II and some of the major historic events of this war. So, all in all, I am so thankful for the opportunity that this project has created, what it has taught me, and how I can hopefully take the principles that I've learned in my future, not just as an educator, but as a consumer of media. And I hope you guys can too, and I hope you're encouraged to explore this series. I highly recommend it. Thank you.